joining Abram and Sarah again, living in tents in the land of Canaan, looking after their flocks of sheep and goats. They were quite content, but sad, as they had no children. By this time, Abram is 99 years old, and Sarai is 90. And the Lord appeared to him again and repeated his promise that Abram's descendants would multiply rapidly and be like the stars in the sky. The land of Canaan would be theirs forever. Abram wondered how this could be, as he had no children to provide descendants. Then the Lord told him that his name would be changed from Abram to Abraham, a word possibly meaning father of a great multitude, and that Sarai's name would be changed to Sarah. The H is the principal letter in Jehovah, which is another name for God, and this was a sign that Abraham and Sarah were obedient and had a special relationship to the Lord. The Lord also promised that a son would be born to Sarah. The news that Sarah would have a child in her old age seemed so impossible that Abraham fell on his face and laughed. The Lord was not angry with Abraham because of his disbelief, but reaffirmed his promise and said that the boy's name should be Isaac. Abraham had pitched his tent near where there were some oak trees, giving a lot of welcome shade. One day he was sitting at the door of the tent, and when he looked up, he saw that he was not alone. There was a group of 3 men approaching him. He ran to meet them and bowed and said, "My Lord, if I have found favour with you, do not pass on through. Let water be brought to wash your feet and rest in the shade of the trees. I will bring food so that you may be refreshed." They asked him to do as he had said. In those times when people wore only sandals and the roads were dusty, it was polite to bring water so they could wash their feet. So he ran quickly to the tent and told Sarah to bake some bread. Then he ran to his herd, chose a good calf, and gave it to a young man to be prepared for eating. When all the food was ready, he gave it to the men and stood by them under the tree while they ate, and wondered what the purpose of their visit was. Soon one of the men asked where his wife Sarah was. "In the tent," Abraham replied. Then the men renewed the Lord's promise that Sarah would have a baby boy. Sarah was listening inside the tent and laughed to herself. She just did not believe the men's promise, even though this was the 3rd time it had been made. To Sarah's astonishment, the 3 men knew she had laughed to herself, and they said to her, "Why did you laugh, saying I am too old to have a child? Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Well, the 3 men were actually angels sent from the Lord to speak to Abraham and Sarah, so that they knew even the thoughts of Sarah. Sarah was afraid she had done wrong and tried to deny she had laughed, but the Lord had known her thoughts. Now that the 3 angels had delivered their message and finished the meal which Abraham gave them, they set off on the rest of their journey. Soon after, Abraham and Sarah moved on with their flocks and their servants further south to an area near Beersheba. The Lord kept his promise, and about a year after the visit of the angels, Sarah had a baby boy and called him Isaac, as the Lord had said. The name Isaac comes from a word meaning laughter. Abraham welcomed the 3 messengers from the Lord with good food. For us it must be good and kind thoughts, for if we have them, the Lord can always stay and rest with us.